Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Jeff coming at you with another edition of Mindset Mondays. Today I'm going to do a little bit of a recap from a coaching program that I've been doing since October. We had about the last quarter of last year where we went through all of the curriculum and had weekly calls on Saturdays with our small group session. And then this past weekend, most of the people in my small group came to Austin from really all over the US and the world. People came in from Mexico and Canada. Another guy was coming in from Nicaragua and couldn't make it. And so we all just convened in Austin at an Airbnb, shared a bunch of cool experiences together and went through the graduation ceremony. So in doing that, the premise for the program was called Go for Your Win. And I was called to it. It just kind of popped up in my field, and it's run by Aubrey Marcus and Erick Godsey, and they're both based here in Austin. So for me, it was kind of a no-brainer to be right in the middle geographically of everything that was going to be happening with this graduation weekend and all of that. So I really felt the energy and felt called to do it. So I jumped in, and throughout the program, like the first week, they jumped into some things that brought up some work that I needed to do on myself. And that called me to go to the Sacred Sons Adventure Convergence in Oregon in November, and then just continue to go through the curriculum. And, Erick Godsey was facilitating the entire way through. And he is really a master at mental alchemy, if you will. He's a Jungian psychologist. He's not a trained psychologist, but he has learned quite a lot about mythos and mythology, and particularly from a lens of Carl Jung and his archetypes and all of that. And he brings it together in a way that is fluent, articulate, and applicable in the moment in a way that I've never experienced before. And it was just an amazing journey to go through with him, leading all of us along the way. So with that in mind, I just thought I would give you a couple of the takeaways from the events that we had with him over the weekend, where he was sort of dropping his knowledge. And so it's all kind of come full circle to me, and some of the things that I've been sharing in other Mindset Mondays about journaling and just the way that you think and resonate your vision of what you want to see brought forth into the world. And it's really confirming and exciting to me to see that so many of these things are coming together from so many different angles. And even just like Aubrey and Erick and all of that crew are really into biohacking and neurohacking and doing ice baths and all of these different things to optimize their performance. And then seeing somebody like Dan Martell in the program that Patrick and I are in for the SaaS platform training, that he's teaching or coaching his upper level people, and he's taking them out and doing ice baths and these other things that are really common in the world of sort of like I say, Erick Godsey and the Aubrey Marcus world. So it's really cool to see all that stuff brought together in one way or in one place. So I can weave it all together. And that's going to kind of go into what my takeaways were. So some of the things that I wrote down, I'm kind of reading my notes off of slides here, but basically, if you're going to be out in the world creating, and you are entrepreneurial and you want to see a vision that doesn't exist, so you're not going to go and just like work for somebody else, so to speak, and work on their time line and with the what their vision is, but you're going to go and create your own vision. So when you think of that vision that you want to create and you write it down very specifically, I mean generally and specifically really, but you can look at it and think about like who am I in this world? Like what is that future version of myself that I want to see? Who am I with? What am I doing? Where am I at? Basically they frame it in like, well, what's the song that you want to create in the world? What is the symphony of dynamics and thought processes that you're doing? And so what is that you're going to see and do? Like, what is that ideal version? So then each day when you wake up, a journal prompt could be, ask yourself, or ask that vision what you can do today to get one step closer to making that a reality. And in another talk that I heard last night by Aubrey, it was more about like not getting too stuck on the destination of it, but envisioning that really audacious, grandiose, like, you know, the most absurd version of the reality that you can create. Like, go for your win, like go for it in such a big way that it's like so ambitious that it seems almost like it's unreachable, because that's really what's going to be catalyzing you to continue to move forward and to get the skills to move past the limitation, self-imposed, or programming and all of that other stuff that you need to do to continue to learn and grow into that future version of yourself that could actually handle that reality that you want to create. So two of the things that Erick said was speak and act the truth to the best that you're able, and the results of that are going to be the best thing that can happen. So don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid that, oh, if I set this huge goal for myself, I'm not going to be able to reach it. Like, that's okay, because it's going to still give you, you know, growth and learning along the way. And it's kind of a moving target. As you, like, in every moment, a part of us is dying, because that version of ourselves, the version of me that sat down in front of this camera right now to make this Mindset Monday is dying, but there's a new version of me being created in every moment, because now I'm realizing I'm self-analyzing myself and like, oh, I could have said that better, or, you know, why didn't I prepare more for this, or what, you know, whatever all those stories are. And, you know, I'll be better for it because I'm constantly, optimizing my performance. And, you know, I've been very busy. I've been off the grid for basically 72 hours. I'm tired. I haven't slept much. I've had a lot has happened. And here I am trying to consolidate my thoughts down into, you know, one Mindset Monday so that I can get it out to you guys on Monday. So all of this is growth, you know, because I'm learning in real time, and that old version of me is dying, and this new, more confident part of me is emerging in real time, because I'm like, no, I have the skills to pull this together. I have the skills to speak without tripping all over myself, and I can bring these thoughts together, and I can deliver a product or, you know, a video that's going to help people potentially get some new perspective on their own lives and move forward. And that's the goal with this series anyway. So that's the first thing is speak and act, and whatever the result is the best thing that can happen. So the second part is I commit to doing what I'm afraid to do, especially when my inner guide tells me to. So again, like kind of putting your sights on this big vision of what you want to create for yourself and commit to doing it, even if there's fear there, you know, because that's your inner voice is telling you this is where you should be focusing your time and where you should be, the direction that you should be striving for. And if you don't listen to that voice, it's going to keep telling you louder and louder and louder. And it might not be as easy to hear. You know, you might have it get forced upon you, which is what happened to me in my life many years ago. We won't get into that. But basically, you are responsible only to the degree of your confidence. So if you get this big vision and you continue to strive towards it and move through all of your limitations, build new skills and all of that, and let's say that you don't reach where you thought you were going to, and that old vision dies, a new vision is going to be created, and you're going to be that much more capable of manifesting or creating that vision for yourself because of all of the learning and experience that you have from that past experience. So again, like in the last Mindset Monday, I believe it was, where I was saying, you know, focus on the journey. Don't focus on the destination so much. Have a destination, have a place where you are putting your intention, but don't be so don't be so attached to that destination that if you start to find that your soul moves you off course into another direction. That, oh, I've lost this thing over here. It's like, no, now you're that much more capable of making this other thing a reality. So you're only responsible for the result to the degree of your competence. If you're trying to do something really big, hopefully that is going to be far beyond the competence that you have at that time. And it's going to require, that new vision is going to require you to continue to build upon your competence and skill set. Skill stacking and all that stuff falls into it that, Patrick has gone into in other lives as well. But, just take on the responsibility to make the change. So then some people, another concept that he talked about was, being resistant to change, and that a lot of people in life, they are resistant to change. I assume that most people who are listening to this right now are, entrepreneurial. They're in the entrepreneurial space. They understand that this is a journey that is chosen, and it's not for the faint of heart. It has its ups and downs. It has its letdowns, but it also has the immense capacity to deliver a life that you dream of, instead of just a life that you are existing in and going and clocking in and clocking out and all of that. So I assume that if you are here on this call, that you're not so resistant to change. But hey, we all have programming, we all have limitations. And to recognize that not only do you have to change, but you have to find your way within the world and within the other relationships that you have, and that your own growth and the change in your own life is going to disrupt the other of those around you, and the people around you, your friends, your family, potentially other people you work with, other people, your significant other, whatever. Their story is they want to be stable, right? That's the part of their story, and you're part of that story. Part of their stability is based upon the story that they have about you. And once you start to disrupt that version of you, that the version of that story that they have about you, that's going to get a little bit uncomfortable for them. It might get very uncomfortable for them, and therefore it might get very uncomfortable for you, because you might fear losing those relationships or disrupting those relationships in a way that's going to be detrimental, that maybe you won't have those people in your life anymore. And sometimes that will be true too. You might have to leave people behind. You might have to leave family members behind. You might have to leave friends behind if they're so negatively affecting what is being created within you, and what is really desiring to be expressed from the inside out. And that's the way I see the entrepreneurial journeys. It's like, this is something, it's not a choice for me. It's like something that has to be expressed in the world. Is applying the truest version of myself, the most fully embodied version of myself, to create value in the marketplace, create value for the people I do business with, my clients, my customers, other people I relate with, etc. So it's a deal breaker for me. It's like, if you're not on board, then there's only so much I can do to bring you along, because this is my life. This is where I'm going, and I'm not going to get so stuck up in somebody else's story about what they think is possible that I'm going to limit what I think is possible. So, part of change is feeling and transmuting that grief and that, maybe even shame or guilt tripping, all these things that the people around you might do to hold you in that space where their story is still stable, right? They're going to try to keep you in this one place where they know you. So it's often a lot more difficult for people to recognize who you are if you've changed. Like, if you knew them from before, you've transformed in some way, it's a much more difficult for them to see you where you are now, because they're still where you were before. And they have to think in their head, wow, like, how is this person where they are today? They came from where I was, and I'm still there. that's really, can be traumatizing for people. So I think there's a good opportunity here to be compassionate with those people and to deliver your messages to them with compassion and with love in whatever degree, but that you are committed to your own path and your own life journey to a degree that you're willing to let those relationships go along the way if needed. And the name Tim Ferriss was mentioned, that he is starting to switch directions. I haven't really kept up with Tim, but apparently, before he was all about, the work and the grind and the hustle and the productivity, you got to be this, you got to be that. But he is shifting gears and moving more into this kind of more vulnerable place of delivering results. And that's kind of the way I approach business, is that it's all about the results. I don't focus on all of the details most of the time. I just try to get the results from myself and the people around me, so that overall we're going to be moving forward. And then the last thing that I wanted to deliver was a really good story that Erick tells a lot. It's called the Rainmaker Story, and it's a story about a village of tribesmen or whatever people, and they hadn't gotten rain in a long time. So this Westerner shows up in the village, and he's like, "Well, what are you guys going to do?" And they're like, "Well, we're just going to call in the Rainmaker." And so he's like, "Well, what's that all about?" So they call in the Rainmaker, and it's a guy, some shaman guy from another village or whatever. And he comes into the village, and he goes into a tent and just sits there in the tent. And about 4 days later, it starts to rain. And so once it starts raining, the Rainmaker comes out of the hut, and the Westerner says, "Well, how did you make it rain? Like, how does that work?" And he said, "Well, where I come from, the land and the people are in order. And when I came here to this village, it wasn't in order. And so I went in the tent, and I basically, put my orderliness out into the atmosphere around here, around this village, and everything became in order. And so it rained." So basically what he's saying is that when everything is in order, everything can work the way it's supposed to. And so the first thing that is going to put the world around you in order is for you to be in order. And if you're in order, you have all of your yourself in alignment, you're in integrity, the goals that you're striving for, the actions that you're taking, the ways that you are treating people, the ways that you are, kind of moving about the world. If those are all in alignment and in order, then everything around you will also start to be pulled into order as well. And you'll start meeting the people that you need to meet. You'll start finding the tools that you need to find. You'll start receiving the resources that you need to receive. You'll start realizing the abundance that you have been wanting, and all of these things will just flow. And I find that in my own life. It's when I struggled, and in life, I was really striving and attached to different outcomes of what I was trying to create, and that really resulted in not a lot of success for me, because it was, the success was dependent upon that specific thing happening, where I wasn't able to flow with the dynamics of a situation or a relationship or a business opportunity in a way that allowed me to pivot and move with it, so that I could continue to up level and deliver that vision upon that vision in a much more in a much bigger way as we went. Right. So I think this kind of is a great story to kind of anchor in that, again, just bringing yourself into order is going to create order around you. So, I had a blast during this program. It was very, very cool to be, we had a group of like 15 other people, in the small group program that we went through with. And, we've all just become amazing friends. I've been sharing some photos on social media and whatnot. And we just had such a blast together. And I know that we're going to be, friends for a long, long time. And one of the facilitators that helped Eric with our group, she went through the program, I think 4 years ago. They've only offered it 3 times, but it's been kind of random. But she went through it, I think 4 years ago, and her cohort, so to speak, the group that she went through with, they still meet personally twice a year to continue to learn and grow together. And I know that this group will be no different. I know that we will meet, at least once a year, maybe even twice, someplace, and have a weekend mastermind together and all of that. So just amazing to create these relationships over time online, and then bring them into the meeting face to face, and to share such amazing experiences along the way. I mean, we just had such a great time together and continue to learn and grow together. So anyway, that's my Mindset Monday. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to dropping another one here on next Monday. All right, take care. Have a good one.